Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing BackRankBasher in the 15-minute pool on ICC. So, I believe I've played this player before. At least, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have. They're on my notify list on ICC, and I'm on theirs. So we've either talked or I played them before. So let's see what we get this time around. Oh yeah, he just said something to me in the chat. Hello, Taylor. I won't say your last name on camera, just in case you don't want it to be there. But yes, this is Taylor. Sam. So say hi and good luck. All right, so what does he have against our Queen's Gambit? Now I'm curious. I'm just going to search our game as long as he's thinking. So you can use the search function. Huh. Oh, actually, we haven't played before. Okay, so I guess I've just talked to him before. All right, so he plays a Queen's Gambit declined. Yeah, and I really like the exchange variation. I know Knight F3 is also playable, and I have played that before too, but I'm just kind of in love with this line for white, and it's never really let me down. So we'll go with this. Yep, bishop e7, now e3. I'll play bishop d3. c6 is most common now. Plays knight bd7, that's also fine. One thing about knight bd7 is they might keep open the option of playing c5, so it's kind of a flexible move. They block in their light square bishop, but considering that this light square bishop usually doesn't come out actively outside the pawn chain anyways, that's fine. So, okay, I'll just play queen c2 and attack this pawn on h7. It's not overtly threatened, but I am kind of looking at it right now. He says, will this be on video? Yes, it will, Taylor. So do your best. So he could play c5. In the case of c5, I'll have to decide between knight ge2 and knight f3. c6 would be way more common. And after c6, I have a choice between those two moves. I'll probably play knight ge2 just because it's like the more aggressive and principled plan. But totally possible to play knight f3 as well. Okay, he plays c6, yep. Let's go knight ge2. Nothing wrong with the knight f3 plan as well. This plan I'm adopting right now just keeps open more options of central break with f3 and e4. That's the primary plan that I'm going to pursue in this position. Okay, now f3. Over the board, I probably played this position a half dozen times. Online, much more than that. So here, bishop e6 is playable, knight g6. I think knight e6 is also playable. I want to advance to e4. The thing is, I might not do it like immediately. It'd be common to play a preparatory move like rook a d1 or rook a e1. So he plays knight g6. Okay. So after knight g6 and then a subsequent h6, if I take on f6 and they take back, I can try to win a pawn by taking on g6. But my e3 pawn is weak too. I have to bear that in mind. So I'm going to try to be accurate here and decide between those two moves. If I play e4 right away, oftentimes they can take once and then play knight g4. That's a scenario I'd like to avoid. I think I'll play rook a d1. Rook a d1, h6, bishop takes. And then maybe queen d2 to defend the e-pawn. Or would it be better to have the rook on e1 so I could move my knight? Tough decisions this early. Okay, I'm really not sure, so I'm going to play rook a d1 and see what happens. I mean, I can also, if they play h6, I can also just play bishop takes g6 first. There's nothing that says that I have to play bishop takes f6. Could go like h6, bishop takes g6, h takes g5, maybe bishop f5 then. Looks reasonable. If he plays something like bishop e6 now, I probably will play e4. Then after a capture on e4, like d takes e4, f takes e4, and then knight g4, I could play the bishop all the way back to c1. That's a nice aspect of having moved the rook to the center, is you can drop that bishop all the way back, and it's kind of tucked in nicely. And it's not disrupting the rook coordination. He does play h6. So if I take, he takes. If I were to just directly win the pawn, he gets to take that pawn on e3. I don't like that. You know, I could also just play bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, bishop takes g6, f takes g6, and then e4. What's wrong with that? Probably there's nothing wrong with that. He takes, I take with my pawn. I have a nice center. Also, that pawn is going to be weak. Yeah, I think that pawn just could be a liability on that square. He does have two bishops, though. Okay, I'm going to take, first of all. Okay, so if I play e4, pawn takes, can he go bishop takes d4? Check. King h1, kind of threatening bishop c4 then, but he might have c5. So my most direct way around this entire problem is just to take and then play e4, which maybe is the way to go. Might be. Otherwise, yeah, it's hard to get e4 in, or it's hard to bring myself to play a move like queen d2 to defend. Okay, let's just do this. We'll advance in the center. So he's got the two bishops, but I have a lead in development, and I'm already getting my pawns rolling. Moreover, that g6 pawn is weak, and I'm taking over the center. So it remains to be seen whether he can deal with all of these issues. If he takes on e4, I take with my f-pawn. Let's say he plays g5. I play e5, bishop e7. I could check on b3 then. He can't block with his bishop. That's very nice for me. So I'm going to try to make something out of my pawn roller in the center. That's what I'll be looking to do. I think I was getting this player confused with Bunker Buster, which is another guy I played recently. They both have alliteration B names. I think that's part of my confusion. I'm remembering who this player is now. It's not someone I played, but it's someone I know. I think I can safely pre-move f takes e4 because I'm not going to be taking with the knight. So Let's just pre-move that. If he doesn't take it, well, I'll still probably advance to e5, but I'll have the extra option even of taking on d5 too. So he does capture. And here's where it's nice to have my rook on d1 as well, in addition to e1. If I had played rook a e1 back on move number 12, I wouldn't be protecting d4 twice. So my threat is just e5 followed by queen takes g6. There's a couple ways he could deal with that. He could preemptively move this bishop, like bishop g5 or bishop e7. He could also play pawn g5. That's that line we were talking about with e5. I don't think pawn g5 is a very good move. He could also play king h7. I think he might be hesitant to put the king on the same diagonal as my queen. So all told, I think he should move this bishop. But e7 like blocks the rook from communicating with the e6 square. So like a bishop e7, I could maybe play queen b3. Although that's probably not bad for him, just hide his king there. Also on bishop e7, I might have knight f4, attacking that pawn. Probably he should go bishop g5, all things considered. How would that go? So if bishop g5, let's say I play e5 all the same. Bishop f5. I was thinking about queen b3 then, but okay, he's going to do it this way, though. So here, isn't this just inviting e5, though? Don't entirely get it. Because e5, if he takes e2, I just take with my knight. I still have my queen pointed at that pawn, and his bishop's under attack. So, I guess I don't see the point of his play. All right. You're going to have to show me, Taylor. Let's see. If bishop f5 now, I could sack on f5, and then after he takes back, take on f6. He takes with his queen. That's equal material, but I think I like my position with the two knights right there. I could also play bishop f5, queen b3 check, bishop e6, queen takes b7. Just wins a clean pawn. Or maybe two pawns, because c6 is also hanging after that. That might be the better option, even. As played, I think you might just be losing that g6 pawn. Let's check BackRankBasher's stats for a moment. Peak rating of 1941. Nearly 2,015 minute games played. Looks like they've been pretty active in all categories recently. So bishop back to e7. Yeah, there's nothing stopping me from taking on g6 now. It hits the bishop conveniently, too. Okay, let's take it. There's no traps or anything. If he takes e2, maybe I could throw in, and I could even throw in rook f7, but he has bishop f8. So I'll probably just take back with my knight, keep open attacking options. Because like actually going like knight f4 would be a tempting way to assist my attack, like threatening knight e6 or knight h5. Yeah, he's very much on his back foot now. I think he felt very uncomfortable after the e4 advance, is my read on the situation. Yeah, I think this position is close to losing, if not lost. So rook f7, bishop f8. I don't see a immediately good follow-up. So yeah, let's just keep our options open. It's nice to do this when you're attacking. Like, don't play the obvious move. Like, like rook f7 or queen f7 check. It's often much more uncomfortable for your opponent if you preserve like a number of attacking options. You just keep your advantages and you stay flexible, because when you're defending, the worst thing is uncertainty. You prefer clarity when you're defending. You want to know that your king is safe. You want to know that your opponent is not going to mate you. And if you can try to force the game down like a narrow path, you're much happier than if your opponent like retains like 2 or 3 or 4 ways they can try to mess with you in a position. Okay, bishop g5. Yeah, so there I think I just have rook f7 now. This is kind of the thing I was talking about. Although I guess he has bishop e3. Yeah, he can go bishop e3. He has to go bishop e3 to avoid getting mated. Rook f7, bishop e3, king h1, queen g5. Oh, but I just take on g7 with my rook then. Okay. It does defend against queen takes g7 mate, but not the rook coming in. So yeah, rook f7, just making sure there's nothing else that he can do, basically. Well, this move's pretty lights out. He needed that bishop to be able to go to f8. Yeah, there's not even a way to offload material or something to try to survive. It's just checkmate. The only material he could offload would be way too much, like a queen or something, like bishop f6, e takes f6, queen takes f6, which is of course losing. Interestingly, if I wasn't threatening mate, he would have rook takes e5 based on this pin. Not sure why I said that, but just an observation. He'll probably play bishop e3 because there's nothing else to do. Maybe on the off chance I play king f1 and he can somehow, even that is losing, but I'll play king h1. I was thinking for a second bishop e3, king f1, rook f8, but queen takes g7 is still mate. Yeah, he said, wow, good game. I respectfully resign. I will just tell him good game. So let's take a look. So I highly recommend this line. Those of you who watch my channel will know that I play this exclusively against the Queen's Gambit declined. And actually, it's a reason why I think black should play bishop e7 on move 3, or at least consider bishop e7 on move 3. So knight f6 instead, traded, and then bishop g5. Bishop e7, e3, all these moves are standard. As I said, black hasn't played c6 yet, so they could technically play c5 if they wanted. But he just settled on c6. And now there's two plans for white. Knight ge2, as I played, or knight f3. With knight f3, and there's some instances of this on my channel too, white is traditionally aiming for a minority attack on the queen side, using less pawns to attack more, playing rook a b1, getting behind the b pawn, playing b4, b5, trying to induce a weakness in black's pawn structure. Knight ge2 is more exciting, and it scores a little bit better too. And the plan is exactly what I tried to demonstrate in this game. Just f3 and then e4, attempting to obtain a pawn roller in the center. And it makes sense. Like, this plan is very logical because White has one extra pawn in the center, so it's no wonder that white would like to put it to use with the e4, e5. So right here, I've seen bishop e6. I think I might have mentioned knight at knight e6, but I don't think knight e6 is a good idea in view of bishop takes h7. So yeah, I think bishop e6 and what he played knight g6 are the main moves. I couldn't exactly remember what to do after knight g6, so let's just add the engine and see. I played rook a d1. Yeah, if e4 right away, you always got to watch for this idea, because e3 can become weak. Bishop takes e7, queen takes. Actually, this might be one of the lines, queen d2. I seem to remember this queen d2 move, controlling e3. And white has the two center pawns, although black maintains a fair bit of stability. Yeah, this might be the line. The direct e4. I'm so used to preparing e4, and that's why I played rook a d1, which also is probably not bad. So they went h6. That's funny. Bishop takes h6 was a suggestion for a moment. G takes, bishop takes, and then f takes, queen takes. But it might lead to no more than a draw, maybe. King h8, take, knight h7, or maybe just a unbalanced middle game. I wouldn't want to play this for white. Yeah, white gets a bunch of pawns for the piece, 3 pawns for the piece, but I don't know if it's worth it. Yeah, I don't have any follow-up attackers to assault this position with. So I just took and then played bishop takes, followed by e4. This seems interesting. I mean, I like the directness of this line. I mean, I have 2 knights versus his 2 bishops, but he still has development issues. Hasn't brought the light square bishop out yet. And I've got a clear threat, e5 followed by queen takes g6. Not an easy position for him. He probably should play bishop g5. The engine is liking that move, but it still thinks white's better. But yeah, this is prophylaxis against e5, so it makes sense to do that. Let's just follow the engine suggestion. King h1. What if something like bishop e6 now? e5, king h7, knight e4. Yeah, white will play for activity. I'm hitting his bishop now. But he needs something a bit more sophisticated, like bishop g5, to give himself chances. If he doesn't do that, yeah, he's really asking for trouble. I think bishop g4 is essentially like a losing move. And bishop e7, also a prophylaxis, but I didn't think that was as appealing because he doesn't control f4. Also, I could give a check if I want, and his bishop can't come to e6. Although, in fairness, bishop g5, queen check. Probably this isn't good either, because of take, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Queen b6. Apparently, black can sack a pawn, maybe, and do something like this. But yeah, he needed to move this dark square bishop. Instead, he played bishop g4. I got e5 in. Bishop back to e7. Again, bishop g5 probably gives somewhat better chances. Bishop g5, queen takes, queen e7, guarding the crucial f7 square. But bishop e7, we take g6. He takes e2. And like I said, keep open your options when you have the initiative. Like, don't feel like you have to play a forcing move just because you're on the attack. Queen f7 check or rook f7, they look nice, especially rook f7. It looks like really threatening. But after bishop f8, somehow I think this makes his defensive task a little easier. Like, now he knows what he's up against. He knows that I have these threatening major pieces close to his king, so he's going to do stuff like this. He's going to do stuff like queen g5. Knight takes e2, I keep an air of mystery about the position. I might play rook f7. I might play queen f7. I might not. I might just bring my knight in lazily to e6 or h5. He's got to calculate all that now. Burn time. Yeah, and he did this, and then rook f7 is just winning. But, yeah, even in the case of, like, rook f8, I think this is looking pretty good. Can't I just play knight f4 in this case? Knight f4, bishop g5, or queen e8.
Check.
He is still down a pawn.
Check.
Trade, probably queen e7 or queen d7. h3. Yeah, black can escape to a position where he's down a pawn and white still maintains somewhat of an attack, but he has to be precise. Yeah, it looks like rook f8 probably was necessary here. I was thinking queen d5 might be tried in order to guard this square, but after knight f4, it just looks bad. Yeah, this is one line that's kind of nice. Take and then knight check, followed by knight c7 after he gets out of the check. Otherwise, like say after knight f4, they grab the pawn on a2. This is going to be winning. Threaten mate. If bishop f8, then check. You can't take it due to the pin. King h8, queen h7 mate. So bishop g5, rook f7, yeah, and it's all over. He resigned. The only thing he can really do is check, but after this, yeah, queen g5 doesn't help because if rook takes, and I'll mate him on f7 or h7, wherever his king goes. Okay, so once again, my advice would be on move number 3, if you're playing black, like really seriously consider bishop e7 to avoid this whole exchange variation. For white, it's a really fun line. I recommend you play it. And know the difference between knight f3 and knight ge2. Yeah, I think this position, if you are going to play this for black, this position is like a tabia for it. You want to know what to do. I'll go back and take a look at my analysis, but I'm actually, now that I've played through these lines, I'm pretty certain I should have played e4 right away instead of the preparatory move rook ad1. So e4 right on move 12. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be back tomorrow with another standard game. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.